Hello and welcome. My name is Dave Oster. I'm here to bring you the MVP Sports Mock 1.0. Before we dive into it too deep, want to direct you down to the description. We have a Patreon link there. You can get insights into our early mock drafts, our big boards, see all the behind the scenes stuff going on that we've got for you ahead of time, ahead of schedule, and even kind of before we're even locked in. So you might see some changes over time. So cool little peeksy there at our Patreon. But let's dive into it. So let's get into my mock. With the number one overall pick, I've got the Washington Wizards taking Nikola Topic. Now, you might ask, why are we picking a player who hasn't played in like 2 months, even though he was only supposed to be out 4 to 6 weeks? Uh, Simply put, the Wizards need to start over as a franchise. They've already had, a couple of interesting choices. They've shipped a lot of guys out of town. And I think Blau Koulibaly is like clearly the way they want to build this team. And Nikola Topic being the best floor general of this draft class, instantly you lock up the point guard position. Jones is doing good for them this year. And like, it's not a knock on him. It's just, he seems like a temporary thing. You don't know about him long term. So let's start fresh. Nikola Topic is one of the youngest players. Like I said, he's the best floor general of this class. Phenomenal passer. He goes downhill. And the cool thing is, you know what he's trying to do every time because he's always trying to make that pass to the right guy to get you the best possible shot. So even though he's always driving downhill, he's always got his head on a swivel, always looking for guys to pass to. So I think that'll work out really well with this Washington Wizards team. Get them a primary ball handler, build forward with that young core. With the second overall pick, I've got the Detroit Pistons taking Matas Buzelis as a jumbo wing. Now, a lot of people don't have Matas very high on their boards. I know what might be a surprise to you to see him up here, but the one thing is, I'm Detroit. I am already sick of being, always the bridesmaid, never the bride of a draft class. So yet again, I don't get the number one overall guy, which this year it's fine. Not worried about it. We're going to get a guy who is like 6'9", 6'10", can create really long arms. The big thing is, I wanted someone here who can make an impact offensively and has room to grow as like a star, because I think that Cade is good, Ivy is good, Duran is the guy, clearly, but you really need that shooting from the outside. A lot of people might lean towards Zachary Shea here. I think Shea kind of gives more role player vibes at the top end, like elite role player, but Modest gives you that, like, we can have another ball handler who has size and who can create shots anywhere on the floor. He's got a confidence in his offensive game. I know the shooting splits are ugly because it's G League and he came in halfway through the year, but I have a lot of confidence in him moving forward and becoming a much more dynamic weapon in the NBA, playing alongside actual talent, organized basketball, as opposed to the show that was the G League Ignite. So, with that said, the number 3 pick going to the San Antonio Spurs, Reed Shepherd. This one seems very plug and play. Pretty safe pick here. Spurs don't have a point guard. They've been playing with Jones this season on and off, started with him on the bench because they had the Sohan experience. And it's just very clear that Wemby needs a true point guard. Reed Shepherd can be a true point guard, as seen by that most recent spotlight game against Tennessee here in March. And I mean, what's not to love about a guy who is one of the smartest guys? He's got quick hands. He's athletic enough, and he is hitting shots at what is a surely unsustainable rate, except for the fact that it's March and he's still nailing like well over 40% from three. I think he was at like 50 or 40 something. Like, he's very up there as far as his shooting splits are concerned. He runs some of the best out of the bounds plays. He really gets basketball and he tries to read passing lanes. There are some deficiencies, obviously. Talking about all this, he's not my number one for a reason. He is 6'2" on a good day. And obviously that will limit him. He's not the strongest guy. So one of the biggest critiques in him and from a lot of people is his ability to fight on defense. Yes, he does read passing lanes. Yes, he does actually average great block and steal numbers because he knows what people are trying to do and he tries to take that away from them. But it does get in trouble when you get in those one-on-one matchups in ISO. So, like, yeah, is that going to be a problem for him? Yes, but same side, at the same time, his upside is incredible. And having a 1-5 matchup with Reed Shepherd and Victor, go ahead. You blow by Reed Shepherd, guess what? Victor's right there. Like, you've got, a 12-foot wingspan. Good luck. It feels like a nice pairing for me moving forward. So I feel pretty good about the Spurs landing Reed Shepherd at 3. With the 4th overall pick, I've got the Charlotte Hornets taking Stephon Castle. Stefan is one of those guys who comes in from a super, super fun highlight score in high school. Just limitless range. Maybe some of the worst shot, quality IQ kind of you would see out there. But he's kind of transformed that entirely with UConn. He looks like a completely different player. They've got him playing as a super role player right now. They've got two great upperclassmen guards who they're trusting with the ball much more. They've got Klingon, they've got Caravan. Like UConn is a heavy vet team, national champions. Obviously, they know what they're doing. And he has really been this plug and play guy who can defend 1 through 4. He is crafty. He is able to switch everywhere. And the fact that when the ball does hit his hands, he is not always looking to score. He is trying to drive, he's trying to create, he's trying to move the ball and get different looks out of them. So the fact that he's changed his play style up so much in just 9 months is really incredible to me. And the fact that maybe there's something wrong with his shot is the downside, because what we saw before was somebody who had no qualms taking shots. Now we see a great amount of hesitation, and even maybe a little bit of like I don't know if this is the system or just himself, but he's passed up on a lot of looks from 3. So shot doctor required maybe, but building up that confidence in him again. But look, you got a 6'6" guy who can defend everywhere, who can play make for himself, who can play make for others. And he is just a competitor through and through, 110% effort kind of guy. So love that about him. I think the Hornets, he fits right in there. And that way, you're not concerned if LaMelo goes down. You still have somebody who can ball handle, create, and it gives you a nice 1-2-3 of LaMelo, Brandon Miller, and Stephon Castle working together going forward. Number 5, I've got the Trailblazers taking Zachary Risacher. Big follower. A lot of people have him as their 1, their 2. There's another guy who will come right after this. If shocker, you haven't heard his name yet. But Risacher to the Blazers is just the ultimate plug and play. You already have Scoot and you have Shaden Sharp. You feel very good about them moving forward. You got dominating at the 5, whether you like him or not. He's on your team. He's long-term locked up. I love Ant in the backcourt. So you really need to attack the wing. So I see Jeremy Grant on here. He got his payday. Dame, thank you for getting this man paid. But they really need some young guys they can count on to grow. And Risacher seems like a plug-and-play guy. He's that 3-and-D, like I said, super role player. Right now, he's kind of on a bit of a slide right now. As we hit playoffs in Europe, his games, when they matter most, maybe he's being a little exposed. Maybe he's just on a cold streak. But that 3-point shot's not falling right now. So it's kind of like, well, if that's not happening, what else can you do for me? He's still a good defender. To his credit, you watch the games. Shot's not falling. It's not like he has a lack of confidence out there when it's not falling, which is good to see. You like see guys fight through that adversity. But obviously he'll be playing on a very young team, a very bad team in the Trailblazers. And it's good to know that like you have a piece going forward who, in theory, projects to be this jumbo scoring wing on the outside who is just, able to catch and shoot, able to switch on defense. It's everything you want for a team where you've got your ball handlers locked up. And in theory, you have a big locked up. Timeline's looking good. They should all kind of meld together really nicely, play style wise. So with that said, at 6, I've got the Grizzlies taking Alex Sarr. A lot of people have Sarr as their number 1 guy. I clearly don't. I think that a defensive big whose shot is questionable, it's tough. It's tough. He's done a lot of nice things defensively playing in the NBL. Honestly, though, the highlight of his year, I want to say, is probably his play against the G League Ignite when we saw him come over here and play. And that says a lot. I mean, yes, it was high level. At the time, it felt high level just because it's name prospects playing each other. And he was able to switch. He was able to dominate. His shot was falling. Like everything was kind of going right for Alex Sarr. And at the time, I was like, yeah, absolutely. This guy's number 1. Lock it in right out the gates. But as the years gone on, he's been, backup big in the NBL. Obviously, they are not there to develop him. He's there to help them win, kind of a thing. And, he played pretty good. Like his defense is good. I don't really have questions there. His rebounding could be better. He kind of gives off certain vibes that I'm like, there's questions to his game, especially someone with his size. But if you're going to draft a big who has switchable size to wings and someone who can shot block really well in this class, I think that he is kind of like that super athletic big that you're looking for, who might pair nicely, I think, next to Jaren Jackson Jr. That's the one thing where I'm like, These two together, I know they both have the same knock of like rebounding could be better, but they've got guys on that team who will hustle for rebounds and, throw the life on the line for it. So I think the Grizzlies hopefully won't be in the top 6 again. There's some other guys they could take here, but I feel like landing Alex Sarr as a pairing with Jaren Jackson Jr. for them gives them maybe the best chance moving forward long term. At 7, I've got San Antonio Spurs via the Raptors, who just missed out on keeping their pick. So the Spurs will be taking Cody Williams here. Yeah. So with that, Cody Williams is kind of in this weird spot where, again, similar to Stephon Castle, he started high and has kind of fallen off quite a bit. A lot of people, it's weird to see someone who has this much hype. And again, is the hype warranted? I don't know. He's the brother of Jalen Williams on OKC. And it's a situation where he's kind of like the third best player on his team over in Colorado. And he fades in the background a lot. He can be good with the ball in his hands. He can be good as far as being a good defender. There's a lot of things where it's like he's a pretty raw prospect, and you see that at times, and he's pretty young, and you see that at times. So when the big moments are happening, Colorado, he's not always involved, and that kind of gives you pause. But at the same time, this is not drafting the best college player. This is drafting the best NBA players. And as a wing who is 6'8 plus, with his wingspan, with his talent, with his ability to attack the rim, and once he gets over some confidence issues around the shot, which similar to Castle does not take many threes right now, I think that he's still like, just you can't pass up on a wing with those measurables. I don't want to give him the full like Zaire Williams treatment, because Zaire was an utter reach for the Grizzlies a couple years ago and seemingly has not panned out to the expectations they had for him. But Cody should be really good, and this is a guy who I'm honestly expecting to be gone earlier because the Thunder will probably try to trade up for him. But at this point, we're not doing trades in this mock draft. So the Spurs lock in. They get Reed Shepherd. They get Cody Williams. They're feeling pretty good about their core moving forward. All right. At 8, I've got the Rockets taking Ron Holland. Now, where does Ron Holland fit in the Rockets? The answer is defensively, he's Ime Udoka's wet dream. This is exactly the kind of player Ime wants. He's all effort on defense. He's an incredible defender, athletically gifted. He is strong. He is fast, and he takes in transition and just goes. I've never seen someone be like, I don't think he's quite at the Thompson twins level of athleticism, but he's maybe a quarter, half notch down below that. He's still elite, and defensively, same thing. So I think you're getting somebody who kind of fits the mold of what Ime wants to build. Is there a spot on the roster for him today? No, but I think you find that over time. I think that the Rockets are still kind of churning through their roster, and right now it's all about taking the best prospect possible, and Ime Udoka probably goes to Ron Holland. Like, that just seems like it's going to work out really well. Do they have needs at backup point guard? Absolutely. Do I feel comfortable taking someone like Rob Dillingham here? Absolutely not, because the defense isn't there. It's just not going to work out for him. So let's be honest, Rockets, Ron Holland, it's a match made in heaven for Ime. All right, at 9, I've got the Utah Jazz taking Cam Jones. Cam Jones, massive riser this year. A lot of boards might have him in the second round, but his stats are fantastic. What he does on the court from a scoring perspective, he is just locked and loaded, polished as a scorer. And you might see like Dalton Knecht gain all this love for his great performances. I think Cam Jones is a guy who slid under the radar because that Marquette team is so loaded. You've got Kolek, you've got Osoy Ighodaro, and Cam had always been like that third leg of the team. But Cam Jones, honestly, with the, he's on a stretch where there's about a couple games without Tyler Kolek, and he showed out in the last month. I think he's been shooting like 40%, like well above 40% from 3, like 60% from 2, just 20 points a game. He had a couple of 34-point games. He is just killing it against the competition. And I think he fits really nicely into the Jazz plans moving forward as a plug and play 2. So I like the confidence of him as a multi-level scorer. He's a catch and shoot guy. I think Keontae George and him as a future pairing going forward seems real nice on paper. Do I need to see more defensively from him? Absolutely. But this draft class gained someone like Cam Jones who could be a bucket for you, plug and play guy. Love that. At 10, the Thunder via the Rockets. Bit dyslexic there. Donovan Clingan going. And I see the Thunder fans hating on a lot. And the big thing here is the fact that we have seen their lack of size and strength in the post lose them games. And as much as they don't want to admit it and want to say having Chet as our center is the biggest advantage, we need to get guys around him who can, cover up for that without, whatever. I think that a dual big lineup is something that challenges teams in the West and gives you a matchup nightmare for other teams. We've seen it happen right now as far as the Timberwolves are concerned. Obviously, unfortunate cat news, he's out. But when that worked, it worked really well against teams like the Clippers, against teams like the Lakers, against all these top teams. Having a big who can truly hold his own in the paint and be strong. I think that Klingon is a perfect pairing down there. He's not always going to be playing. That's the other thing, too. Right now, it seems like the best way to get Klingon is 20 minutes a night. So that way, you're still getting all your Chet minutes, but you can overlap some minutes. And then you also have Klingon on the floor by himself when Chet needs to take his breaks. Like, I feel like this is a greed pick, and I don't know. Again, I expect the Thunder to trade up to get Cody Williams. But if they don't, I think Klingon's kind of the best guy to fit because defensively, he just shuts down the paint. He completely clears rim protection. So absolutely love the idea of Klingon on the Thunder being that perfect pairing. They still got to figure out the Giddey thing, but later date, At 11, I've got the Hawks taking Rob Dillingham here. Hawks take a point guard. Writing's been on the wall for a long time that Trey and DeJounte Murray together has been a failed experiment, and it's time to move on. And I think Rob Dillingham is the guy left in this draft class with like star potential. I know he's got deficiencies defensively. Are we just taking another guy who's just worse Trae Young? Maybe. I don't know. But I'm taking the guy who gives me the best chance moving forward if I do move on from Trae Young or DeJounte Murray, that would be able to run an offense, be able to shoot from three on volume, be able to create for others, do all the things you need to do, but reset that contract back down. And I think that's a smart move for the Hawks right now. I do know they took Kobe Buffkin last year. I know he's been doing good in the G League, but his NBA performances have been lacking. But is a team that's kind of in upheaval right now. They're stuck in the middle right now. Johnson is really their core piece, and outside of him, So I think that you go ahead and you get someone like Rob Dillingham. You lock down the point guard position of the future, assuming you're going to move on from one of the two pieces you've got currently, and you feel pretty good about your future at that point. Chicago Bulls at 12. Bulls fans not going to like this one. Kyle Filipowski. Rebounding is important. We will not have Andre Drummond next year. And I know I love continuity. I just assume we're not going to pay him what he's worth. So I think we need to get a power forward. Filipowski is great power forward. He's honestly someone who almost went to the Thunder because he can dribble, pass, shoot. And that is something they always talk about as having players who can do a little bit of everything for them. So if he is here still, I think the Bulls, huge pickup for us because he's someone who can grab boards, who can move the ball offensively, and is able to attack and score points for us. He's able to defend big wings, but he can also slide into the center role when Vucevic isn't on the court. I really like how good of a player he is, and it's really impressive considering he came back off of double hip surgery this past year. Remember, he just had that surgery, season ended, surgery, new season, and he's playing as well as he is. So, I think there's a lot to him. He seems like a really competitive guy, and I like the fact he came back. Didn't pay off for him too much as far as draft stock, but I think the Bulls get a good one here. At 13, Trailblazers. We're taking a swing, boys. We're going with Justin Edwards. If you asked me a month ago where Justin Edwards was on my board, the answer would be pretty far down. But we've seen him have great performance after great performance and starting to live up to those expectations that he was coming into the year as a top 5 potential draft pick. So if you get a confident Justin Edwards, who is just this, tick all the boxes physicals, wing prospect, who seems to have the confidence back in a shot. He seems to be really good at finding his spots to attack offensively and not being super demanding. Obviously, he's playing on a loaded Kentucky team. A lot of mouths to feed. We've already talked about Reed Shepherd. We've already talked about Rob Dillingham. Those two guys are great. Justin Edwards kind of playing eighth fiddle on this roster at times. And I really am excited to see him because I think, again, The Blazers then end up with 3-4 of Edwards and Risache, which gives them like perfect wings moving forward in my mind of like, look, worst case scenario, you've got two excellent role players. Best case scenario, Edwards has crazy good potential. We saw him even put the ball on the court a little bit more, not just a catch and shoot kind of guy. He really seems to kind of have an all-around game to him. So I really like that. Risache, like I said, could be an incredible shooter if he can maintain what he showed to start this year. So Blazers hopefully won't be back down, horrible forever. But a lot of things got to go right for them. But I feel like I filled out the roster pretty nicely at the top. At 14, I've got the Pelicans via the Lakers going Devin Carter. This dude's a dog. He just plays hard-nosed basketball. Defensively, he's an attacker. Offensively, he gets in people's faces. I think that his shot is good enough. I think you're buying him for the defense on the Pelicans. And I know they've already got Jose Alvarado. I know they've already got, I'm blanking on his name. Dyson Daniels, who are both great defensive players. And I think that the big thing I keep seeing on this team is just like, you don't need another wing right now. They're so deep. They have a couple shooting guards. It's just, you're taking somebody who you think future of the team moving forward at some point in time, if CJ ages out or contracts out, you have other guys who can step in, run an offense successfully. I think Devin Carter kind of gives me that vibe of like, he's someone who can run an offense in the NBA and keep a team churning, but also be competitive defensively where situationally, which seems like the Pelicans are just, they've got guys for every situation. So why not get a point guard who can do that for you? At 15, I've got the Raptors taking Tyler Smith. I love Tyler Smith. He's like 6'10 wing, great shooter from the outside, still developing the rest of his game. It's coming along, but throughout the G League year, he was their most consistent player by far. Like Ron Holland had his ups and downs. Modest Buzelis had his ups and downs, but you could always count on Tyler Smith to knock down 3-pointers. And with his size and the ability to do that, he's got theoretical defense. At times he gets blown by. He needs to work on some things there. But look, this year's draft class, you take the things that are sure. And if I can have a 6'10 shooter who has upside defensively because of his body, because of his wingspan, I'm going to take that and feel pretty happy about it. The Raptors need floor spacing. They just loaded up on guards basically with IQ, RJ Barrett, and Ochai Agbaji and Grady Dick in the draft last year. So like they've got a bunch of guards. I'm trying to give them some size, some rebounding, and some outside floor spacing. I think that Tyler Smith kind of checks all those boxes. I feel pretty good about that as a plug and play for them moving forward. 16. I got the 76ers taking Johnny Furphy. Plug and play, say no more. This guy is just waiting at the 3-point line because Max is going to attack the rim and Embiid is going to be sitting under the paint, and he will stand behind that 3-point line and he will backdoor cut or he will take catch and shoot threes. He's just the perfect role player for this team. Someone off the bench who can contribute to a championship run next year. He's not anybody who can do more than that right now. He's still super young. I'm not saying never, but right now he kind of fills in like where PJ Tucker was like 3 years ago. He can do that pretty well. Defensively, he's not as good, obviously, but like he has upside to be a better defender and he has upside to be a really good catch and shoot guy. So he can do everything you need in a very select role, which I think the Sixers really just need that this year. They don't need a bunch of things. They can just target one specific role and absolutely kill it with Johnny Furphy. At 17, I've got the Miami Heat taking Dalton Connect. Some say he's the best scorer of this draft class. 3-level score, 24, might be 25 soon. But he's killing at Tennessee, and he is just he is their entire offense and then some. So with that said, knowing the teams double him, triple him, pay all the attention to him because Tennessee just doesn't have that many guys who can do much offensively, and he's still able to succeed at that level. I think the Heat are the team that I like for this because they're a team that really needs offense at times, and they went out and they traded Kyle Lowry for Terry Rozier, and I know Kyle Lowry was negative for them. I know Terry Rozier's kind of been a negative for them already. So I'm not going to put any thought into that. Tyler Hero is hurt year over year over year over year. I don't know if they're going to continue forward with him, but I do know that they need a shooting wing. And Jaime was a massive hit last year. I'm not just drafting Dalton Connect because he's old. I'm drafting him because he is a scorer who can score at all three levels. And I think if any team can make up defensively for him, it's the Miami Heat. If any team can get him to play defense, it's also the Miami Heat. So like this seems like a best case scenario for both parties. I love the idea of him going there. And look, you just need some wing replacements because we don't know if Caleb Martin's going to be back for this team. He'll probably get paid somewhere. So like he feels like a guy who can come in, play competitive basketball, and hopefully buy into that Heat culture and get some defense under his belt. At 18, got the New York Knicks taking Jared McCain, notably one of the best shooters in this draft class. Kind of been limited role this year, but I understand. It's one of those things where you're playing a college system and you can't overextend yourself because you don't even have the chance to because you're coached, because the guys around you. But what we've seen in moments and sparks from Jared McCain is his shot is pure. He can attack. He might have a little bit more point guard skills. He's not just purely a shooting guard out there. And defensively, he will fight. He will go in. He will be solid for you. So I think the Knicks would probably want to take this opportunity to get a backup point guard. I had them earlier, or no, I've got them coming up with another pick in a little bit. So I think that we dress backup point guard. Again, depth. This is playoff teams, and it's Tom Thibodeau. So Josh Hart's going to play 45 minutes a game, and he'll never see the court probably. Deuce McBride just got signed to a longer-term deal. Great for him. Love Deuce. But you need to get someone else who can create some shots, create some points off the bench. And I think that Jared McCain gives you a long-term vision of that backup point. And I think I like the fit. I think I like the fit long-term for them. At 19, I'm the Magic. I'm taking one of the guys I love most in this class, KJ Simpson out of Colorado. Huge need for them as point guard. Markelle Fultz, as much as I love the guy, cannot seem to stay healthy. Doesn't seem to be able to keep it on the court. Doesn't seem to be able to stretch the floor ever from three. So we're moving on. Very frustrated about that. But they've got some guys. They've taken some shots at Anthony Black last year, notably. Not great as far as a scorer, but he is all hustle, 110% effort, defense, everything you want to see there. You just got to watch him keep growing his game offensively. Hope that he can become a passer, scorer, all those other things. But right now, he's a nice supplementary piece. And Jett Howard, enjoy the G League, man. I don't know what to tell you about that one. Hopefully he spends time down there, gets his shot locked in, gets the rest of his game built out, and comes up and helps out the team next year. But they really just need a point guard. KJ Simpson is that. He's a junior out of Colorado who Colorado may have underachieved this year, had Cody Williams, him, and De Silva out there, and yet still struggling throughout the year. So weird to say that, but he's a great facilitator. He is a good three-point shooter, and he's not total garbage defensively. He's not great, but you need a point guard who can run an offense. He is exactly that. He can step in day one, run an offense for you. Just address it. I know he doesn't fit the Magic pick because he's not 6'8". He doesn't have a 12-foot wingspan. But trust me, just get a point guard who can run an offense. That's KJ Simpson. Love him. Absolutely would kill it there. At number 20, I got the Atlanta Hawks taking Keyshawn George. Keyshawn is out of Miami, which is sure right now. Team is not doing great. But he's 6'8". He's like 20 years old. But he's a great shooter. He had a late growth spurt, so he's got like guard skills, but he's sized up. So love the idea of it. He plays a little slower though, like not full slow-mo, but he's not exactly a quick bursty athlete, but he plays with confidence in his game. And I think from the outside, it's like you can build the skills together to be like a Boyan replacement, basically. He's got size, he's got ball handling, he has shooting. He's got a little bit of creation. He's not the worst as far as creating his own shot, but like he can create for others. It's very much a blank slate kind of guy, but he's got this crazy upside because when he gets hot from three, you just see the confidence grow, and you always want someone like that on your team. And if he has upside to be like a 6'8" starter next to Jalen Johnson, great. That's phenomenal. But in the meantime, like set your expectations. You're pick 20. I feel like he's a good project for you on the wing. 21, I got the New York Knicks taking Zach Edey. This one pains me because Zach Edey is someone who a lot of people, myself included, talk down upon quite quite a long time. But I'll admit when I'm wrong. He's most productive college basketball player. He played in international tournament over the summer. Obviously, you guys may have seen it for Team Canada. He took the advisement, the coaching, everything. Like, he soaked it all up. Nothing but positivity came back at him, and he dropped a bunch of weight. He changed the way he plays in college. It's not like he wasn't killing it in college already, but he just got better. He was already a player of the year, and now he just got better in college based off that summer experience, based off the feedback. So extremely coachable. Yes, he has insane size at like 7'4", but he moves really well for his size. And look at the Knicks. I'm going, do you have the money to pay for Hartenstein to keep him? And Mitch Rob got hurt again. We're hoping he'll be back still, fingers crossed. But like, they're in a situation where you've got an injury-prone center in Mitchell Robinson. You've got someone who Hartenstein may or may not be there. So Edey seems like you can bring in somebody who is a NBA-ready center, who I'm not super concerned about, and defensively present. Offensively, you can't ignore him because he's 7'4". So like, it seems like a perfect fit because Tom Thibodeau would probably hurt himself if he had to watch Precious Achiuwa and Jericho Sims soak up more minutes at the center position next year. So I think that one's kind of like a desperation. You got to get somebody who can play now, compete. That's why I went with Edey here, because I think that he is the most NBA-ready guy left. At 22, I've got the Suns taking Jacoby Walter. And this name probably has been mocked a lot of times in the top 10, and I don't quite understand why. Jacoby Walter is a catch-and-shoot guy out of Baylor who is being asked to do a lot more than he's capable of doing right now, it seems. He's a dreadful defender in college, and everyone keeps telling me, "Oh no, but catch and shoot," and he's elite at the skill he does have. He's just being overworked, overstretched. It's just being exposed in college right now. So I'm putting him on a team where you literally don't need to do more than catch and shoot, make threes, be an offensive spark plug for a team where you can just fill in that role, a la Grayson Allen, and be a cheap contract who can contribute to trying to compete for a championship. Because I think that's what the Suns are. You don't really need to do much if you can't do that. Like, you're either going to make your threes or you're not. It's that simple. And I think Jacoby Walter in a simplified role is his best chance of success. So I feel good as the Suns getting somebody who is mocked as high as he was, but at the same time, I understand why he fell to this point. At 23, I've got the Pelicans taking his teammate, actually, and Yves Missi, and someone here who the Pels are a team where they probably just need a backup big at this point. In my mind, it's like, I'm the Pelicans. I've already got my guys. I got Zion, I've got BI, I've got CJ, I've got Trey Murphy. The list goes on. They have such deep. They just took Jordan Hawkins, a movement shooter from last year at UConn. They just have an incredibly deep team, and I took Devin Carter with pick 14. So here at pick 23, I've got Yves Missi stepping in as a backup big for them. He kind of gives me a little Clint Cavell vibes, and I do expect him to be a guy who can give you 10 to 15 minutes off the bench. If you're asking for more than that, I'm not sure year one he's going to have an all-around game enough, but he does have some upside potential shooting. We saw a little bit of sparks, whether he was able to pass out of the post. So I think there's upside. There's things to like about his game, but the Pelicans really just need another big who can soak minutes out there. So I think that easy fit, plug and play. At 24, I've got the Milwaukee Bucks going with Dron Holmes. Love Dron Holmes. I think that he is a stud. I think that he's undervalued, underappreciated, overlooked, all those things at once because he took advice, went back, got better every year in college. And I know Dayton's not winning a bunch of games, but he is showing exactly why he should be an NBA prospect. Killing it on blocks. He's added the three-point shot. He's scoring well. He's facilitating. He's doing all the things you want to see. And this is like a perfect pick in my mind for the Bucks. A lot of people want to jam in a backup center because Brook Lopez is somehow beating, Father Time yet again. But you need to invest. You need to invest now. Holmes is the perfect guy because he can play, give you a little bit of that combo of what Holmes does, but also give you a little bit of what Bobby Portis does. I think that long-term, he's a great fit for this Bucks team playing next to Giannis. He's athletic. He feels like the ultimate, like every reason you should go here. There are some guys you like on the wing I had considered here, but I think Holmes' best value, best player left for them. At 25, I've got the Cleveland Cavaliers going with Terrence Shannon Jr. I'm going to start this off with the giant asterisk and say, assuming off the court things don't matter, and that's why I'm going with Terrence Shannon Jr. here. Incredibly productive college player. He is an upperclassman, but he's a really good shooter, really good scorer. Not really a point guard. He's really just there to be like a combo 2-3 for you, kind of fill in that Strus role and be someone who can allow you to move on from some other pieces who aren't able to stay healthy, produce like Karis LeVert. So I think that like he kind of fits that wing role for you moving forward. Obviously, you're still playing the slow game with Emoni Bates. I still love Mobley. I don't know if you keep Allen Mobley together. Not for me to decide right now. I think Terrence Shannon Jr. is the guy. TSJ, you lock that in. You get yourself a scoring wing off the bench, and you feel pretty good about somebody who can be a two-way guy and affect the game right away. At 26, we got the Wizards keeping it very, very European here, and I'm taking Bilal Coulibaly's former U18 teammate, Melvin Agencia. So 6'8" wing, very good shooter, athletic. He's on a bad team, so his shot quality is not great. I think he will benefit massively by coming over here and playing in the NBA and also benefit from their number 1 overall pick and Nikola Topic. So like this is a best of both worlds. I did not intend to build the Euro team, but now I am doing that. We've got Denny Avdia, we've got Bilal Coulibaly, we've got Nikola Topic, we've got Melvin Agencia. Like I don't know who their last guy's going to be, but feel pretty good about this. There are definitely some different routes you can take here, but I feel like I always value shooting and size. He brings both those to the table. Defensively, he can do more. I think we're just starting to scratch the surface of what he can do. So very excited to see him paired back up with Bilal on the Wizards. At 27, got the Nuggets. We'll see if they're going to be the champs again or not. TBD. But the Nuggets need to address one position, and that is backup point guard. They tried last year with Pickett. He has an old man game that I really love. He's been working on it. He's been killing it in the G League, taking a ton of volume threes. But Tyler Kolek comes in as a plug-and-play guy. I mean, you got the best point guard in college basketball. He is undersized, yes, but to run a second unit, he is perfect. He could kill it with Jokic out there is what I'm saying, because the Marquette team plays like a that's me, plays like a junior version of the Nuggets with Oso Ighodaro and Tyler Kolek together. So I really like the idea of Kolek going up, graduating to the Nuggets, playing backup point guard, and being able to contribute, because Reggie can't last forever. You can't ask Reggie Jackson to keep doing what he's doing. This team needs a backup point guard. Colin Gillespie isn't him. I don't think Pickett's him. So I think that Kolek fits in as, again, you take the upperclassman point guard. He can run on offense. He can make the right passes. He can take threes. He's a catch and shoot guy too off the three. So like it feels like a natural fit for him on the Nuggets. At 28, Timberwolves. I've got Baylor Shireman here. This is a weird one because I thought about it a lot, and the Timberwolves really are a team that is loaded at big. They've got some good wings. I really like Leonard Miller that they took last year. I think he's going to be great for them. They got McDaniel still. So like they've got guys everywhere. Ant-Man is insane. So really like I'm looking point guard, but I don't see great value at point guard. I thought about reaching here, maybe going for like a Proctor, maybe going for someone similar, but like I don't love the fit. I don't love the value of those guys. I think Shireman here is someone who is a big wing. He's like a big guard, I guess. Let's put it that way. He's a big guard. He rebounds extremely well. He can facilitate. He can come off the bench for you, put up points, put up shots. I kind of envision him kind of taking over the slow-mo role for his team as like a nice tweener of everything for you. He does a little bit of everything. Defensively, he's not as good as slow-mo, but offensively, he can run an offense off the bench unit as a secondary creator and keep the ball moving. He can generate opportunities, and you're not going to have that fall off that they might have without replacing slow-mo. So I think that's mostly what draws me attention to Baylor Shireman. He's someone who's developed over a couple of years. He has played both on ball, off ball. He's very comfortable switching between the two. But again, the rebounding numbers, the offensive skill set, everything about his size, this guy is like a perfect fit for that bench unit, and he plugs in nicely timeline-wise and match-wise with some of the players on their team already. 29, I've got the Utah Jazz taking a big shot here at Tajane Saloon, and he's someone who is kind of the mystery box of this draft. And I mean that in the best way. He's 6'10". He is athletic. He's a straight line driver with crazy physical measurements. So like, you got this upside. Does he have a shot? The last couple games, he's over. He's struggling. Does he have a great defensive game? He's got potential. Does he have a great offensive game? He's got potential. He is a box of potential. And I think the Jazz and Danny Ainge are a team where they would probably take a long shot because they've got a bunch of guys who this past year who were lottery picks who sat in the G League for 80% of the year. Taylor Hendricks, G Leaguer for the majority of the year. Their other pick of Ohio State, who I'm blanking on his name, Bryce Sensabaugh. I think he was like picked late teens, early 20s, whatever. G League majority of the year. So I think that taking a draft and stash in Saloon seems like a great idea. They can let him develop overseas. And if everything hits, great. Massive upside guy. People were like, could you imagine him doing this in the NBA? Kind of like Pascal Siakam vibes. People want to put Giannis out there just because you're coming over from overseas and you're 6'10". Let's not do that to anybody. Okay, let's not buy that hype. But let's say we're buying a lottery ticket. We're putting overseas. We'll worry about it in a couple of years. Seems like a very Danny Ainge move for a Jazz roster with a lot of turnover, a lot of mouths to feed, and let's be honest, not enough game time. So I feel like that's a win-win for them. Boston Celtics ending your first round. Again, it pains me because I mock this man relentlessly for his lack of motor. Kel'el Ware, someone who is putting up crazy good numbers at Indiana when he wants to. Big asterisk. Also, when he's not facing other good centers, which bit of a concern. You go, is he shying away from the challenge? Can he not live up to the big moments? These are things that I think you can coach someone through. He was a top prospect. He is a 7-footer with a touch. He's added a 3-point shot to his game. He's a good rebounder. He kind of gives you Willie Cauley-Stein vibes of like everything there is physically great. A lot of this thing, like why it doesn't work, is all mental. So I think that the Boston Celtics are the team where you take a shot on somebody who, if you can get him into a good mindset, you're getting a great value at a discount here at number 30. So I'm buying into the reason of we can make it work for us. It didn't work in college. Obviously, he was a transfer to Indiana his first year at Oregon, splitting time with another center. There's a lot of reasons why it could have gone wrong. We see when he's highly motivated, he is a monster. He can shoot, he can rebound, he can defend decently well. Not great. Let's be honest. He's not a great defender at times. So, and he has struggles against top tier defenses, those best of the bigs, but I believe it's coachable. I think a lot of it's up top. So again, Celtics at 30, value pick, Kel'el Ware, lock it in. I do want to say, you're going to say, Dave, how come you didn't mention my favorite guy? Insert name here. All right, that's probably enough time for you to type that out. JT Toppin, Colin Murray-Boyles, Bub Carrington, names that I thought of. 2 of those 3 would have been my first round. Bub would not have been. But there are rumors right now, or there's not a lock that they're going to come out in this year's draft. So CMB, I think for a 6'6", 6'7" guy who lacks a shot, but not saying it will be gone forever because he seemingly just came out of nowhere and killing it in college basketball at South Carolina. So like, sky's the limit for that kid. I think he's a first round talent, but there was a rumor article that came out today saying that he would be probably coming back to college. Don't know why. I think he is 20 to 15 to 10 range. Just the production, the competition, incredible. Just jumps off the paper when you watch their games. JT Toppin, same thing. New Mexico. Just really good defensive player. Great metrics. Both these guys defensively, incredibly gifted. JT Toppin's got a lot more offense to his game, but both of them defensively are absolute studs with great, JT's got the size, CMB's got a lot of the softer skills as far as maybe passing out of the post, doing some nice things there. So like more of a hub piece. Both absolutely would be first rounders, but I just got to put it out there that, hey, I don't have them here right now. They might be on my board later as soon as we get some like soft commitments to the NBA draft. And before we end, let's just give one last rundown of this draft. At number 1, I've got the Washington Wizards taking Nikola Topic. At number 2, I've got the Detroit Pistons taking Modest Buzelis. At 3, the Spurs going with Reed Shepherd. 4, the Hornets taking Stephon Castle. 5, I've got the Blazers going Zachary Risache. At 6, I've got the Grizzlies taking Alex Sarr. At 7, I've got the Spurs taking Cody Williams. At 8, I've got the Rockets taking Ron Holland. 9, the Jazz taking Cam Jones. 10, the Thunder taking Donovan Clingan. 11, the Hawks taking Rob Dillingham. 12, my Chicago Bulls taking Kyle Filipowski. At 13, I got the Trailblazers taking Justin Edwards. At 14, Pelicans taking Devin Carter. 15, the Raptors taking Tyler Smith. 16, I got the Sixers taking Johnny Furphy. 17, I've got the Heat taking Dalton Knecht. At 18, I've got the Knicks taking Jared McCain. 19, the Orlando Magic taking KJ Simpson. At 20, I've got the Hawks taking Keyshawn George. At 21, I've got the Knicks taking Zach Edey with their second pick. 22, I've got the Suns taking Jacoby Walter. So important that I missed him the first time we did this take. At 22, I'm going to mention him again. Jacoby Walter to the Suns. If I that up. At 23, I've got the Pelicans taking He's Missy. At 24, I've got the Bucks taking Deron Holmes. 25, the Cavs, Terrence Shannon Jr. On the court only. Off-court issues pending. At 26, I've got the Wizards taking Melvin Agencia. At 27, I've got the Nuggets taking Tyler Kolek. 28, the T-Wolves taking Baylor Shireman. At 29, the Jazz taking Tajon Saloon. And at 30, the Celtics taking Kel'el Ware. And thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this, make sure to like and subscribe, get more content from us. If you want to keep the conversation rolling in the future, there's a Discord link down below in the description. And we are talking in there day and night about damn near every topic. I don't know how to finish this, so thank you and goodbye.
As always, we'd like to thank the people that make these videos possible, our patrons whose names are displayed on the screen now. If you would like to become a patron, go ahead and click the Patreon icon in the bottom right. And if you'd like to check out another video from MVP Sports, hit the video in the upper left. As always, thanks for watching.